SIL hounded me for dating her brother following his divorce, then gave me a bridesmaid invitation as an apology. It turns that she was compelled by her mother to salvage her ideal wedding. Hello everyone. I am 26 years old. Kyle, 34, and I are getting married shortly and expecting our first child. We've been together for 7 months, and the kid was a surprise to both of us. Kyle's sister, Bella, 36, has been the source of our relationship's problems since its inception. Kyle and I were acquainted via his younger brother, Victor. Kyle was 27 years old throughout his divorce proceedings. He had been separated from his wife for more than a year, whereas I had recently concluded a long-term relationship. We began conversing and soon became friends with benefits. We didn't want to start a relationship right away. He had started treating his depression, and I had recently changed my anxiety medication. Months later, his divorce was finalized, and 2 months after, he asked me to be his girlfriend, which I accepted. 1 month into our relationship, he organized a family dinner, because I knew his brother. At the event, I met Bella, who began tormenting me in every way imaginable, including my accent, clothes, and hair, attempting to make me appear foolish in a passive-aggressive manner. Kyle, his brother, and mother all defended me, but Bella became irritated and departed early. Kyle and I haven't spoken to Bella much since then. She is still close friends with Kyle's ex-wife, and being a control freak, she believes Kyle should not have divorced his ex. This struck me as quite weird. For months, she said I was Kyle's AP and the reason for his divorce. She informed everyone in our social circle, and it ultimately reached us, which is crazy. Kyle broke up with his ex owing to personal concerns. There was no infidelity. We didn't know each other when he began the divorce proceedings, and I was still with my ex. This myth continued for almost 4 months, despite our protestations. She even disseminated the rumor among their extended relatives. It spread far enough to reach my grandparents. Kyle's mother, a woman of perfect character, was forced to dispute her daughter's lies. Following this, we resolved to cut her off totally, avoiding areas where she may be. Despite this, she continues to lie about me, stating that I cheated on my ex, he cheated on me, that I encouraged Kyle to fully cut off his ex, that I never commented on his connection with his ex, and that I wanted to be with Victor, his long-term girlfriend and closest friend. She labels me promiscuous and claims I'm simply wanting Kyle's family money since we have comparable financial conditions. The worst thing she said about me was that if my mother abandoned me, no guy would either. My mother has both schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder. My father divorced her when she stopped treating me and attempted to murder me, and she eventually abandoned me. I am pregnant, and we just found out. I'm not quite 12 weeks along. But Kyle informed his brother and best buddy. His best buddy told his wife, who immediately informed Bella. Bella usually arranges gatherings, and during the previous one, she made sure her pals informed Kyle's ex. Kyle previously refused to have children, and now Bella and Kyle's ex are circulating rumors that I'm simply a rebound and that my relationship with Kyle will end. When his ex meets someone fresh, Kyle will crawl back to her. And now I'm terrified this may be real. I cannot handle it any longer. I am fatigued. Kyle and I seldom talk to his family, but she doesn't stop. She wants me to disappear and Kyle to abandon me. All I want for my baby is to grow up in a healthy atmosphere. I don't want a shattered household like the one I had. But this selfish lady won't let me try. I am not a house-wrecking monster. I simply fell in love with someone who loves me back. So, how will I cope with this? What will I do? I don't want to make more difficulty, and I don't want to be who she claims I am. Update 1: I am a 26-year-old woman who is engaged. Our relationship is very new. But we're expecting a baby at 9 weeks. I had to adjust my GAD medications due to the pregnancy, per the doctor's suggestion, and my crazy SIL has been making my life terrible. After a story about my height, everyone is calling me a rebounder. I'm starting to believe it. I've never been the other woman, but I met my future husband in person after his divorce, and we became involved. Even still, it feels like I damaged his 12-year marriage, as if I were a homewrecker who destroyed everything. His ex is attractive, sophisticated, knows everything, and is a top performer in her area. How can I avoid feeling insecure? I'm not sure how I didn't feel insecure before. He has a job, he is financially secure, and he has everything under control, whereas I am disorganized. I want to be a pediatrician. But now that I'm pregnant, I'm not sure how to accomplish it. I'm not sure whether I should drop out of medical school. I don't have it together. I would never marry myself, let alone start a family. Why would someone bring a child with me? My mother has BPD and schizophrenia. She nearly murdered me when I was 4, then fled and never spoke to me again. What if I grow up to be like her? Every day, I'm terrified of developing PPD and losing the ability to love and care for my son, as well as the fear that I'll damage him. Sometimes I believe it would be better to give my kid to my boyfriend so that he could raise him alongside his ex. They'd be the ideal family and I could disappear like my mother. Then I hate myself for thinking that, yet I adore my fiancé and my baby. I despise myself for being unable to tell my fiancé this. I'm afraid of being a rebound and him discovering it, and then deciding he no longer wants me or the kid, or worse, taking my baby and returning to his ex. I hadn't felt this way before. I've always been apprehensive. However, I have never been this insecure. I'm not sure what's happening to me. Additional information, including why her fiancé divorced. It's tough because it mostly concerns my fiancé's mental health. He informed me that he married her because it was the correct thing to do, not because he loved her. They had known each other forever and married at an early age. It took him a long time to recognize this since he was suffering from depression and assumed that a lack of emotion was a normal part of the process. During his treatment, he realized he did not love his ex. That he was only going through the motions to match his father's expectations. He had a very harsh connection with his father. He believed that requesting a divorce would be fair to both him and his ex. Regarding the timing of her connection with her fiancé. We've been formally together for 8 months and a year in total. We discussed marriage when we first started living together, but it was just planned for a year. I found out about the pregnancy while taking some tests, and he proposed because it was already in our plans, but the pregnancy was not. He was married for 12 years, but I believe he was with his ex for almost 16 years. Hello everyone. This is update 2. I commented here long ago, and it made me rethink some previous instances. Now I need help with my present circumstance. I don't get along well with my sister. She is best friends with my fiancé's ex and is upset that I am wrecking her best friend's life. My fiancé never cheated or flirted when he was with his ex. It came to the point that I needed to hire a lawyer to get her to stop bothering and verbally assaulting me. She remained silent for some time after receiving the cease and desist letter. She gave me a box last weekend with presents like beverages, food, and cosmetics, as well as an offer to be one of her bridesmaids. She sent a lengthy letter, asking if I would take this accolade as an atonement for everything she had done. The thing is, I'm considering accepting to see if we can cohabit without fighting. On Saturday night, I gave the invitation to my fiancé and stated I was thinking about it, resulting in a heated dispute. My boyfriend bears a grudge against his sister and refuses to speak to her ever again. But I want our baby to grow up in a large and happy family, even if it means making some compromises. He said he was not invited to be a groomsman and believes it is simply an excuse for SIL to call me a bitch. Kyle eventually told me that he was weary of my innocence since it usually ended up harming us because I assumed the best of people. I went to my stepmother's after the argument and had no idea what to do. I returned home Sunday night after receiving advice from my father and stepmother. I tried to ignore it and move on, but the very fact that she sent something sparked a major dispute between my boyfriend and myself. I want to settle this in the best possible way. I'm beginning my second trimester, and everything feels more difficult and tiresome. Kyle and I have both been fatigued recently, and my pregnancy has not been easy. We are working longer hours to cope with the stresses of parenthood and marriage. I don't want our differing approaches to cause difficulties between us. I truly want to create a situation where my baby can see their grandmother happily, even if my SIL is there, but my fiancé is willing to cut off his mother if needed.
So, how do I address the situation? Edit. Some individuals here have called me poisonous and advised my fiancé to leave me. I realize I made a mistake, but I still love him wholeheartedly. I'll apologize as soon as he comes home. We'd never argued like this before, and I hadn't realized I'd done something so wrong. I never intended to harm him or prioritize anybody else above him. I simply felt I could make things work because I never had a conventional family, and I feel that by being with him, I wrecked his relationship with his family. Sorry to everyone who is repulsed by me. If he wants to split up, I will leave without complaint. I have a tightness in my chest and feel ill to my stomach because I worry I've injured someone I love. Additional information.
Additional information on the family from We always eat dinner with his younger brother and girlfriend because I've known them for a long time. But his mother refuses to come unless my SIL is invited, so she never turns up. She paid me a visit once to see how I was doing with the baby. Despite this, he appears melancholy when he discusses it because they have had this practice for many years. He never claimed I was the problem, but it seems like everything changed when I got along. As if he were with another lady. It wouldn't be like this. You should not accept elemental aid. If you obtained a cease and desist order against this person, you must maintain no communication with them. People like these just do not change. This is an absolute trap, and you would be a complete moron to fall for it. Edit. People in the discussion should realize that asking the op to be her bridesmaid violated a cease and desist order. Stop asking her to answer. She definitely should not answer. You prance. and you should let up of your ambitions of having a large, joyful family. You should respect your husband's preferences and follow his lead with his sister. Attempting to develop a connection with her may cause complications between you and your husband. She is poisonous and cannot be trusted. Move on. Sometimes family is the folks who are always there for us, rather than those who are related by blood. Oop remarks after reading others' responses. Reading the comments made me realize how oblivious I'd been to everything. My SIL's apology was all I hoped for, as it would get me accepted into the family and make things better. I never wanted to disrespect my fiancé or his family's limits. He misses family gatherings on weekends with his mother, brother, sister, and in-laws, and I feel like I've wrecked everything and just want to mend it. I adore him, and simply want a positive pregnant experience. Yeah, I'm worried I had to modify my medications for the pregnancy, and that, along with hormones, has made things strange. I plan to discuss the apologetic letter with my fiancé and, most likely, my lawyer to determine what can be done. I don't want to cope with any more harassment. I went to my parents' house since there had been a lot of terrible things spoken, and I wanted distance, as did he. Hello everyone, this is update 3. Great news, I'm going to be a mother to a newborn boy. I favor the names Lestat and Beau, while my fiancé prefers Theodore and Gustave. I have to admit that I am also extremely into Theodore. I'd want to thank you all and explain a few points. Thank you for your advice. Some of it hurt when I initially posted, but everything was beneficial in some manner. First and foremost, I'm not a pampered, immature girl imposing my will on my fiancé. His sister has always had issues with me, but not with him. So I assumed that was something I had to address. But, as you all pointed out, she's his sister, and they have to deal with it whether they want to. And yes, I am an incredibly nervous person who has been in treatment for several years. My mother abused me, and my father was my sole family as I grew up. When my father eventually returned to his homeland and we were able to expand our family beyond the two of us, I was essayed by someone who was trusted by the family. I've been working on this for a long time, but many people may not realize how much it has influenced my pregnancy and recent decisions. It feels like the fault is with me, that I don't deserve love and family, and I can't stop worrying about my kid having a similar experience. But as many of you said, my family now consists of me, my kid, and my husband. I also have my father, stepmother, grandparents, younger brother, Bill Victor, and friends at my side. So here's the real update. I spoke with my hubby the night I posted. He returned home late after a shift and went out drinking with Victor. I apologized for interfering with his connection with his sister, for assuming I knew her better than he did, and for generating unneeded tension. I also apologized for prioritizing the ideal of a large, happy family over his feelings. He sobbed, which surprised me because he is normally extremely stoic. He apologized for stating he was weary of me and stated it wasn't true, but it's difficult to witness the person you care about the most placing themselves in a situation that hurts them in order to satisfy someone highly egotistical. We apologized and spent the rest of the evening conversing. I asked if he needed a break from me because many of you suggested he leave me, and he stated it had never entered his mind, which was a big relief. I'd already envisioned packing to go to my folks' place. We chose to gently refuse the request, but my fiancé took the day off to deal with the problem with his family. I didn't go because it was too stressful, and I'm still in the early stages of pregnancy, with another 5 to 6 months to go. So, what came of the family conversation? My Mill was the one who sent the invitation. She informed my fiancé that she would not attend or pay for the wedding until the entire family was there, and that SIL should face the consequences of her conduct. SIL could afford the wedding. However, it would be a significant drain on her funds because it will be prohibitively expensive. And having their mother miss the wedding would be unfortunate because SIL is a VP at her parents' firm and several important contracts will be signed there. She has to keep up appearances. So SIL decided that asking me as a bridesmaid and sending a loving poem would soften me up. And yes, my fiancé's ex would be her maid of honor, but my fiancé was not invited to be a groomsman since the ex didn't want to see him with me. He would have been welcomed as a frequent guest. So Mill will no longer pay for the wedding, but she will still attend. My fiancé, Victorine, and I will not attend the wedding. Now I'm getting texts from anonymous numbers calling me selfish because SIL was supposed to honor me at her wedding, and I destroyed her perfect wedding. It's amusing because a 36-year-old lady is arguing with me because she wants my fiancé to marry her best friend. She can't get over a divorce that isn't even hers best wishes to her fiancé. I believe I've understood she would never openly attack her brother due of their mother, so she harms me to get at him. Other issues have arisen, and we want to separate ourselves from her, particularly with the kid on the way. Because Bill claims she has reproductive troubles and had a mental breakdown when she found out we were pregnant. He claims SIL seemed to be envious that we were pregnant so quickly into our partnership. She aspired to be the family's first grandchild because she was the eldest. Who knew a shocked infant could wreak such havoc? Thank you to everyone for listening and sharing their stories. I'll see you. Okay, no baby named Lestat, you've won. I messaged Kyle about giving up on the name, and he is the happiest guy right now. Next tale, my girlfriend despises my female friend and refers to her as a pick-me girl. And she has given me an ultimatum: either skip the group vacation, or she will move out since my buddy is joining me. I, 26M, really need an objective opinion on a matter involving my partner, 26F. For begin, my partner and I have been dating 3 years. Throughout our partnership, things have been largely positive. Our schedules do conflict occasionally and we've experienced some problems. But we make it work. My excellent friend, 28F, is currently the source of a major disagreement between us. To be clear, I'll refer to this acquaintance as Violet. To provide some perspective, Violet and I are part of a small buddy circle. There are 2 more persons in the group. We met at a film festival around 2 years ago now. We were all waiting in line to enter the theater. The wait was lengthy, and we all naturally started up a chat and got along well. We maintained in touch later. Everyone in the group travels considerable distances, so we don't get out in person very often, but we speak every day and have weekly group gaming sessions and anime movie marathons. Violet lives the closest to me in the next town over, so we spend the most time together in person outside of the group's internet gatherings. I'd like to highlight that I asked my girlfriend to both virtual and in-person events, and she declined every time. I attempt to include her, but she refuses to participate, owing to her lack of concern for our interests. She finds anime, comics, and video games infantile. We typically watch old movies and restored films, but she doesn't like them either. This distance between us existed before I met this circle of pals. It's unlikely that she'll participate in these activities to spend time together. Like I grew up with game evenings. I'm not even talking about video games specifically. I'm talking about board and card games, but she's not interested. She either turns it off and leaves to do her own thing. Alternatively, if she does watch something with me or play a game, she makes it clear that it is a chore for her and belittles whatever it is throughout. She claims it's a joke, but it feels more like demeaning. It comes to the point that I don't appreciate what we're watching or playing. I'm not a great fan of reality TV, but I watch it with her and try to be truly engaged because, for me, it's more about spending quality time together than it is about the show. So, while my connection with the group has provided a welcome change of pace and balance, it has also been an ongoing issue in my relationship. Recently, the gang has been planning a trip to the approaching anime convention. The event lasted a weekend, so the plan was to stay together at an Airbnb and divide the expense. My fiancée is completely against the vacation because of Violet. She dislikes my friendship with her, and doesn't seem to like Violet at all. She is generally annoyed anytime Violet is there, and she becomes unhappy whenever I speak or spend out with her. We may be disagreeing over something completely unrelated, and it will eventually go back to Violet. She also refers to Violet as a pick-me girl. When the vacation was originally being planned, I invited my girlfriend. She had no interest in coming and subsequently voiced concern about my attending. She dislikes the fact that I'll be staying in the same house as Violet throughout our vacation. I suggested a compromise of simply getting a hotel and meeting up with everyone, but it was not an acceptable option for her. She is eager to listen to everything I offer. It all falls on deaf ears since she knows Violet is leaving. The trip has become a huge source of friction for us. She now claims that the fact that I continue to protect Violet during disputes and refuse to leave the trip is proof that I have affection for her. I haven't given up on the trip since I really want to go to the convention, and it's unusual for everyone in the group's schedules to coincide. My girlfriend sees it as me enjoying a vacation with Violet. She is solid in her stance on the trip, and has issued me an ultimatum. She told me I could do anything I wanted, but that if I went on the trip I'd be choosing Violet above her, and she'd react accordingly. I really don't know what to do anymore. I am not suggesting her sentiments are invalid. Her feelings are her own, but I believe she is being unfair, and that her concerns about my friendship with Violet are unfounded. I feel tugged in 2 directions, and suddenly there's an ultimatum. All I do is make compromises in our relationship, and it feels one-sided. I'm not sure why just one issue would be a deal-breaker. How can I approach this with her now? November 11th, 2024. I, 26M, wanted to provide an update on the issue of my girlfriend, 26F, and her ultimatum. First and foremost, I'd want to thank everyone who left comments and contacted out. I truly appreciate your input. It gave me a lot to think about. I didn't have a chance to respond to the comments, so I'll answer them in this update. Many people wanted to know how my girlfriend and I met. We knew each other from high school, but we did not hang out in the same circles. We attended the same college and met at a party. So I believe that's where our original connection began. We were in this vast college pond, and seeing a familiar face from home made adapting easier. We didn't begin dating until later, however. Things felt more like mutual respect back then. It was almost as if everything changed instantly once we met utter intolerance. I was also questioned why she thought my buddy Violet, 28F, was a pick-me girl. I honestly do not know. The definition is I know it doesn't fit Violet, emo when I ask my girlfriend. She simply answers that a woman knows another woman. She will not elaborate. She never pinpointed specifics. To be honest, my girlfriend used to be a bit of a cruel girl in high school. We addressed it before we started dating, and she appeared to figure it out in college. But now it seems like that part comes out whenever I talk about Violet or my interests. With relation to the ultimatum, I went back and forth about what I should do and what I desired for myself and my relationship. I chose to still participate in the group vacation. I agree that compromise is necessary in a relationship, but this ultimatum isn't. It is an attempt to bulldoze in order to gain control rather than working together. I had to question myself, what would happen if I agreed to this ultimatum? What is stopping her from issuing further ultimatums against my interests, or whenever she sees fit? I was still willing to try again. So I told my girlfriend about my plans to travel on the vacation. I informed her that I understood her concerns and that she was important to me, but I believed that this ultimatum was unhealthy for everyone concerned. I encouraged her to join us on the trip, with her staying with us at the Airbnb or with me at a hotel, because I believed the vacation would be beneficial to both of us. That was a no-go. There was no compromise she was ready to accept. She remained strong on the ultimatum, claiming that she had stated her stance clearly and that if I continued to go on the trip, there was nothing further to talk. She kept saying that she hoped picking Violet was worthwhile. I informed her that it had nothing to do with Violet, and that she was the one organizing a full group vacation around Violet. The discussion was not fruitful. I requested her to kindly evaluate the matter. She claimed there was nothing to reconsider and that the decision was entirely up to me. I asked if we could chat again after the convention to see how we were doing, and she said, "The only conversation I'll be having is with the walls because she won't be in our place when I return. Since then, she has seldom spoken to me, and my texts have been marked as read. So I assume I'm getting the unofficial quiet treatment. I don't see why things have to be this way. We should be able to converse. I no longer feel equally supported, seen, or valued in our relationship." It's a disaster. But a lot of the comments I've received on here throughout the recent fight has served as a wake-up call. And something has to happen. I believe the trip would be beneficial, and I want to continue going. To be honest, I don't think it will benefit me to not go. Thank you all again.